Ayo cek. sometimes use it even down on the second. That's probably where you were. Yeah. There's a smaller. Yeah. Okay. It should be equivalent to that.
Down the other side.
Oh, she didn't? Okay, I gotta get where I can hear. Yep.
I'll get that.
Yep.
I know all that.
Yeah, I know.
Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Phil Dixon, Chairman of the Board of Architectural Review, and we welcome you to our meeting this evening. It's now 6 o'clock on the 2nd of July and time to get our meeting started. Depending on the size or complexity of the project, each applicant has the opportunity to present a conceptual or master plan for our review prior to committing funds for a full set of design plans and specifications. Approval of a concept means that we might agree with the concept while disagreeing with some of the details. It also means that each phase of the project must be submitted at a later date once plans are more fully developed to obtain the board's final approval for that individual portion of the project. Hopefully, any disagreements will have been worked out before the applicant comes back before the board. For those of you who may be new to our meeting, our charge is to look at each project purely on aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale, and in harmony within the historic district in the town of Somerville. We look at the overall street scene. Although we are not required to solicit comments from anyone other than the applicant, the board members, except for demolition, we usually choose to begin our project review with a public hearing to allow others to express comments that might help influence our decision making before the applicant has presented the project and the board members have resolved any questions that they might have. You were asked to sign up when you first arrived and indicate which project you wish to comment. When called on, please limit your comments hopefully to more than 3 minutes, not more than 3 minutes. As always, we will review each submittal in the order that it was submitted. However, as a first order of business, we must approve the minutes of our last meeting, which were sent to the board members for review prior to this meeting. Are there any changes that need to be made, or do I have a motion that they be accepted?
I so move.
I'll second.
All right, please answer for me. David?
Yes.
Nancy Jean?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
And mine, yes. We will now call on those, if anybody signed up.
We do not have any public comment for this evening. We do not have any public.
Have any?
comment.
Okay, fine. Good. Well, then we'll get right on to our business of the meeting. The first submittal is for 212 Beaufort Street. Is anyone here for that one?
So I'll go over the staff report real quick, and Ms. Blakey, you can come up to the podium. So this property is on the edge of the historic district. Due to a clerical error, a permit was issued to Ms. Blakey without BAR approval for the shed. She was not aware that her property was within the historic district. The shed is otherwise completely zoning compliant as far as setbacks and lot coverage. It does feature a bathroom, and she has permits for that, but it's not an accessory dwelling unit, so just a shed. The majority of the surrounding properties on both the Knights Lane and Beaufort have similar accessory sheds on the rear of their properties. And due to the location of buildings, proximity, and all of the mature landscaping on the property, it does not appear that the shed is visible from either Beaufort Street, or Knights Lane. So here's the property. It's located back here, and Ms. Blakely has given her time to come in and answer any questions you have. Again, this was an error on the town's part, not hers, in getting the appropriate permits. Here's the new shed. There's an existing shed. And here is a picture of the shed. So I'll let y'all take over if you have any questions.
I have no problems with it.
I don't either.
No, I think it's fine too.
Motion to accept.
Did you have anything that you wanted to speak to the board about it, or?
No, sir.
No.
Want to be here and make sure.
Can I,
Okay.
can I have a motion then?
I move we approve after the fact, the installation of this shed.
And I'll second the motion.
David,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and mine is yes. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Y'all have a happy 4th of July.
You too.
Our next project is 108 East Third South Street.
So this property does not have a rating from the State Historic Preservation Office for this structure. The request is to install a shed dormer on the rear of the home. It's a second-story addition, so it's zoning compliant, doesn't need any additional review. From what we could see, the addition would not be visible from the right-of-way except when possibly approaching from Magnolia Street towards Main Street along East Third. And again, this proposal is zoning compliant. Do we have someone from the architecture firm to come up and talk about it? Yeah, if you want to come up to the podium.
Yes, hello. My name is Tyler Smith, and I'm working with Joel and Lori Hoffman, the new owners of this great little house at 108 East Third South. Great little house, 1895, one of the oldest on its block, and it's really a delight. This is not the house.
Oops. I didn't think so.
That's an aerial of it. But much of the original fabric of this house is intact. Even the original wood shingles are underneath the fairly old standing seam metal roof that's existing now in most of the residents. Most of the original windows are there. What appears to be the original siding is there. Our intent for this is to have an addition within the existing attic. Oddly, it was built as two separate structures that were joined at some point. So you have a distinct sort of rear structure, which was the former kitchen house joined to the original main residence. And in the center, if we go to the floor plan for a moment, if you will, there's a wide hallway, which looks like it was begging for a stair and probably intended for a stair originally. It's 6 feet 6 inches wide in the front and 7 feet in the back. Not sure why those walls are not parallel with one another, but it adds to the charm. And what we propose is in addition in the second level in the attic, and it will have 2 bedrooms and 2 baths to enable the Hoffmans to be able to enjoy this house to a greater extent. So we'll have 3 bedrooms total in the residence and an additional room that will be sort of a flex room. There may be a sleeper sofa or a Murphy bed at the first level. If you can go to the first floor plan for a moment. Thank you. The flex room occupies the front right room, guest bedroom, back right, and then the formal living room to the left in the front, and the main sort of living spaces will occupy the kitchen house in the back. So we're going to redo the kitchen, have a den, some dining space, and really leave the form of the residence as it is. If we can go to the elevations, please, I'll explain the alteration that you'll see. Upper right-hand image there has a shed dormer that will not go end to end. It's sort of held in, so it will have a smaller impact when seen from any kind of an angle. And that will have windows, 3 windows per each bedroom, and then 2 windows in the stair landing at the top to allow some light to spill down into the first level. And we think that from a visual standpoint, it will really not be noticed much. You'd really have to be looking for it. And from the front, there would be no change at all. We'd like to have a shed dormer in the back with windows that would be in the style of 2/2 rather than the original 6/6 windows, in order to be a bit of a marker that this was not original. This is something different. so that when, someone comes in down the line and they sort of read the house, they won't think that maybe this shed dormer was existing, which is a thing that we like to do when we're operating on in an older house like this, so that it doesn't read as something false. I think that's all I have, but happy to answer questions.
I think I think it's gonna be a nice addition, that dormer up there and having a little more space. As far as the windows, I'm not sure. Defer to my other colleagues.
Excuse me. I think the explanation given for the different windows is appropriate. The proportion of the windows is very similar to the original windows, which is more important than the mullion pattern.
Mhm.
What are the detailing of the corners of the shed dormer? Will it have a corner board on it?
We're not intending to have a corner board on those, but rather to have siding that would miter at the corners. And that would be another little marker that this is something new rather than original with the corner boards that are still existing on the original structures. You can see actually from this side, you can really read the roof form of the kitchen house, and it's really nice that it wasn't drawn and, joined all the way into the original house. It has a little hyphen in the middle, which really it's so nice to come upon this house where everything was so intact. And the shed dormer will not interfere with that, with the gable roof form of the kitchen house.
You can go back to the rear elevation, please. I think it looks good.
Yeah, it's a beautiful house.
Can you move it up so we can see the rear of the south elevation? Okay. I think that looks good too. It looks appropriate to me.
Excellent. Thank you. Shall I sit down or how do we go from here?
I'll make a motion to accept it as presented.
And I'll second that.
Please respond for me. Yes, no. David,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and mine also is yes. Wish you well.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much.
Mhm.
Our third item is 105 West Fifth South Street. Is there anyone here?
Do we have anyone here from Leadership Dorchester? If you want to just come on up. So this request includes some items that typically aren't in the purview of the board, like the sculptures that are included, but they're all part of their presentation that I'll let them run through. Really, the purview of the board for this review is going to be the amphitheater structure. But I'll let y'all go through the presentation and just let me know where you want me to jump around and
Okay, if you just go to the first page.
there we go.
I'm going to ask you to turn up the microphone, make sure it's on.
Can you hear me? It's working?
It's definitely on.
Can you hear me?
Thanks.
I'm Benjamin Tupper, and I'm part of Leadership Dorchester 2024. And our project this year is Azalea Park Children's Discovery Garden. This project was presented to us by Amy Evans. She is the director of the Somerville Parks and Rec Department, and she wanted to put something on the back side of Azalea Park and the tennis courts. behind the tennis courts, right there behind the wooded area. As you can see in this map right here, and then on the rendering on the next slide, there's just so much barren land back there. And it's nice wooded area, but it'd be nice for a little nature playground. And so that's what our project is based upon. You go back to the rendering. This rendering was put together by John Marshall, Thompson and Turner. He's part of our leadership class. And as you can see, right when you come off the walking bridge to the left of the tennis courts is where where our project zone will be. And as soon as you come off the tennis courts, you'll start to see pieces, the music pieces in particular. And then if you veer left, you'll see more and more structures like the big painted turtle, our learning stage, mushroom steppers, the stepping stones. And then if you all the way to the back right side, the little color coded squares, that's hopscotch. And you can just see that as you travel all the way around this little walking path in the Azalea area. So you just go to the next slide. This is a picture of Azalea Park now, and this is where the main project area will be. The picture on the left indicates where the balance beam and the mushroom steppers will be. The picture on the right, in the back right of that will be the big painted turtle. On those trees, we're going to put wrap benches. The benches will not touch the trees, nor will they go in the ground to disturb the root system. And then right through the opening in that picture on the right will be a learning stage / amphitheater that will be constructed by Leadership George Chester 2024. And I'll describe more of that later on. You can go to the next slide. Next slide. This right here is the same. I just described it. If you just go to the next slide. This turtle is our main piece, and it's about 1,800 pounds. It's made of glass fiber reinforced concrete. It's 2 foot tall by 18 foot long. No, sorry, 2 foot tall by 4.5 feet wide by 6 feet long, and it's going to be in an area with playground cypress wooden chips compliant in an area by 18 foot by 16.5 foot. And this turtle is going to be anchored 16 inches into the ground. If you go down 2 slides, if you see the little drawing on the bottom left, it shows this turtle is 16 inches into the ground. The bottom 4 inches is concrete. It'll be anchored by some wedge anchors. And then it'll be 12 inches of compacted dirt. And then it'll be sitting on top of some wood chips. If you go up a slide, the picture on the left is what the painted turtle will look like. The footings for that turtle will be done and oversaw by Keen Steel, the Bastion Group. He is part of Leadership George Chester 2024. He is a licensed structural engineer. If you go down to the learning stage, right here. We wanted to do something different for the children of the playground. And so we thought an amphitheater / learning center stage would be a great way to go. This way allow kids to use their imagination, and then to teach and do whatever. And churches and classes can also come out here and hold class for their students, as they will have a writing surface behind it, a chalkboard that is weather resistant, and then benches will be presented in the front of it. If you go down a slide. The stage will be 10 foot by 10 foot by 1 foot high. And as you can see, the bench rows seating and the backdrop in the background. If you go down the slide, this shows how we constructed this thing. The top of the stage will feature 5.5-inch decking boards, which will be supported by joists and support boards. The joists will be 16 inches on the center, running opposite of the decking boards. Support boards will be running opposite of the joists. Those will be held up and supported by 6 4x4s. The 4x4s are little red squares. There'll be 9 total actually, holding this thing up. And those 4x4s will be anchored into a 24-inch by 12-inch concrete footer, and they will be anchored into a Simpson EVU 44Z, as shown above in that picture right there. This stage will be 1 foot high, so we'll have to have a step. The step will run across the whole front of it. It will be 6 inches off the ground. which will meets the proper rise limit, and it'll be 11, proper rise limit. It'll have 11-inch run on it. That's also ADA compliant. If you go down the slide, this is the elevation, just better depicting what the amphitheater looked like. You can see the footers, the ground, the band boards, the steps, and the post, and everything else in between. If you go down one more slide, these are the benches. The benches will be made out of pressure treated lumber as well, and they will consist of two 2x6s on top of them. They will be 6 foot long, and they will rest on two 4x4s. That'll be same footer as the stage. And there will be supports running underneath these benches, but the supports will be capped. So wasp and yellow jackets can't get in the shadows of these things, and it'll allow for safer play for children, so we don't have to worry about that. You go to the next slide. This will go back to our equipment pieces. The mushroom steppers displayed here. There'll be 3 of them, large, medium, and small. They'll be anchored into a concrete pier with a 1/2-inch J-bolt. That's about it on that. And they will be, the wood chips will be surrounded that. They'll be 88 playground compliant wood chips, cypress wood chips. And it'll look like the picture on the left. To the next slide. The balance beam is another equipment piece we will use. It sticks with our nature theme. It's 8 foot long, and it anchors into a concrete pier with a 1/2-inch J-bolt. Next slide. The stepping turtles will be another equipment piece. We're going to place these directly in front of the balance beam so kids can walk through it, kind of like an obstacle course, and they will also be anchored into a concrete pier with a 1/2-inch J-bolt. If you go down the slide, this is the area coming right off the walking bridge. This is right when you come off the walking bridge, you'll see this in a little bit, the picture on the top right, a little bit to the right, you'll see the music pieces, and we'll have those kind of spread throughout this area right here. There'll be 3 of them. If you go down 2 more slides, those are just a better indication of the rendering and the pictures displayed. These are the 3 music pieces we will use. They will be anchored into a concrete pier. They do not require any J-bolts. And they're percussion play for kids, and they're attractable to kids and parents. As you come off the walking area, you'll see these bright, colorful percussion place things. And kids, they want to go beat on the drums. So you go down one more slide. This is the hopscotch, and we're going to make these out of concrete pavers, 20 by 20. And you just draw them, and we'll let them grow, let the grass kind of grow over top of them, so it keeps a nature feel and it doesn't really disturb much ground. If you go down to the wooden benches, these wrap benches are for seating. This will allow for a 360 site view for parents, and they can efficiently move around and slide around. These benches will not go into the ground to disturb the root system, and they will not touch the trees. They will actually have about 10 inches from the tree all the way around, so the tree can continue to grow for many, many years. The seat of these things will be 18 inches wide. The backs will be 20 inches high, which is consistent with a regular bench. And the bench back will seat at an angle of 110 degrees for better comfort, which is consistent with standard benches. 2x8s will be placed at the top of these things for a headrest or for people to set drinks and things on, as seen in the picture above. It'll be an octagon shape, because that would be the best way to structure this thing. And our inspiration came from the photo on the left. If you go down the slide, this is the plaques we will use for sponsors and donors. It's a brick base set into a concrete. It has a black concrete background with 3D lettering that will stand the test of time, so it will not fade or wear. And that's about it. This is just another picture of our rendering. And then there's more drawings and all that. Leadership Dorchester wanted to do this because Leadership Dorchester is very like-minded in the way we think about things and how everybody on a win-win situation. And so we thought the best use of creating the best win-win situation for everyone would be creating a playground for children, which will help children and parents of Dorchester and Somerville, town of Somerville, and in turn, which will help everybody in the town of Somerville and Dorchester County. I'm open to any questions that you all may have.
That area is not used much. I think it's a great idea.
It's
to
not
get it-
used at all,
Mhm.
and over 250,000 people come to Flowertown Festival every year, and it's the top 20 in the southeast of the United States as a wildlife feature that Flowertown Festival is. So we wanted to do something to it. I was actually at Flowertown Festival this year, and I walked back there, and it was the only place that was quiet during Flowertown Festival.
What is the material that they're gonna be able to write on, or what will they write with that
Chalk.
chalk?
So I did some studies on that, and we've Heidi Gordon, who's not here, she's a big part of our team. She actually sent me the idea about it, and I saw it, so I researched it, and I called a couple playground reps, and they have used that. So they use chalk. So the teachers that come, or the students that come, the children, they just bring their own chalk, because I mean, you can leave it out there, but
Mhm.
we know that.
It won't stay.
It won't stay. And we also like that idea because it backs right up to Bethany. And so Bethany could have Sunday school or like summer camps out there. They want to use it and things like that,
Mhm.
or homeschoolers. And also one other feature I did not mention, I've coordinated with Beyond Basic, who helps people with learning disabilities, and they will help Leadership Dorchester do some site clearing or whatever kind of help we would need in constructing these benches or moving debris out of the way.
I love the idea. I love the idea.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Great.
No, yeah, I went to Brook Green Gardens recently and they have a children's area there. Kind of reminded me of this, so, yeah,
Good. No, I'll just go check it out.
yeah, you should.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. That information, or do we need to?
Y'all will just need to make a decision about the structure, the amphitheater. So if someone has a motion.
I make a motion that accept it as presented. I think the amphitheater, the stepping stones, the musical stuff banging on them, those are all fun things for kids. And they can do their own imagination with it. It's not constructed just for them to do a specific thing. I'm thrilled.
I'll second.
Great. Please answer for me. Nancy Jean,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and mine is certainly yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great project.
Thank you.
All right, I do not have anything under miscellaneous, so unless y'all have something that we need to discuss, we can get a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I'll second.
All right.
And everybody stand up and leave.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.